Welcome to the ednewsstand podcast. I'm your host, Troy Reynolds. This is Season 3, Episode 24 of the podcast, and this week we are finishing up our look at digital whiteboards. And we are going to take a look at 3 more digital whiteboard resources. One, a more traditional whiteboard, much like we looked at Miro last week. It's called Ziteboard. Another resource we are going to look at is a little-known Canvas app from Google Chrome that saves directly to your Google account. And the final resource we are going to look at is Classroomscreen.com. Now, it's not your traditional digital whiteboard, but there is a digital whiteboard widget built into the classroom management system. And there are a lot of teachers that are using Classroomscreen.com. So let's not wait any longer. Let's dive in. These are the last 3 whiteboard resources that we're going to look at as part of the series. And when the series is all done, I'm working on putting all of the whiteboard resources up on my website, which you can check out at ednewsstand.weebly.com. And you will see a list of all of the whiteboard resources that I've gone over, because we've gone over, at this point, I think after this podcast, it'll be 12 different whiteboard resources for your classroom. Some a little more collaborative than others, but all of them, again, giving you just kind of a space to write. So a layout of the newsletter this week, if you click on the logos here, the app logos, this will take you to their website. So we're going to talk about Ziteboard, we're going to talk about canvas.apps.chrome, and we're going to talk about Classroomscreen. With the computer screens, if you click on the computer screens, it will enlarge the images that are available for Ziteboard, Chrome's Canvas, and Classroomscreen. So first, let's talk about Ziteboard. And Ziteboard is similar to Miro. It's similar to Explain Everything. It's just an unlimited size whiteboard with minimal features like your pen, your text box, your sticky notes. And you can export that board as a PDF or as an image, or you could share the URL permanently. So I'll go through the board itself, walk you through the initial layout of the board, and talk about the different subscription options that you have with Ziteboard. So here's Ziteboard, an online whiteboard with real-time collaboration, which we've seen from several other whiteboard resources that we've been talking about over the past few weeks. But let's actually dive into Ziteboard here. You can just click on the Start Drawing Now, or you can actually click Log In. So now that I'm in Ziteboard, you can see just a giant whiteboard. You can move left, you can move right, you can move up, you can move down. When you jump in, you've got your tools across the top right corner. You've got a pen tool, eraser tool, sticky notes, your movement tool, and your undo and redo buttons. So if you click on your pen tool, you'll see that you can increase the line size, you can increase your text size, you can change from drawing a line, a square, or a circle, and then you have 3 different colors, black, blue, and red. So when I move in here, if I just start to draw, it works easily. If I click somewhere and I just start to type on my keyboard, then it will just start to type whatever I'm trying to type on the keyboard. If I go to my eraser tool, I can easily just erase all of the things that I have drawn or all of the text box that I have tried to type in one quick little click. I don't have to erase each individual pixel. It just erases all of everything that I've done with my line, or in one instance, I should say. So if you're drawing something with multiple shapes and you're clicking and unclicking multiple times, you will have to use your eraser tool to erase each one of those lines that you have drawn. So you can see here that if I click the tool icon twice, it will open the panel. So I click it twice, click it once, just selects it, clicking it twice opens the panel. If I long press on an item, so if I long press on this magic wand over here, then it gives me my different tools, so I can change the layers on the tool, I can lock the tool or rotate the tool. I can also grab the tool and I can also make the image or whatever it is that I'm trying to manipulate, I can make it larger. So I can drag and drop an image or insert from the menu. The menu is in the top left corner. I click on the menu. I can create a board. I can save my board. I can look at my boards in my dashboard. I can invite people to this board. I can insert an image, PDF, or an MP3. Let's look at that. If I click on that, I can insert an image from the web. So I just paste the link, or I can choose a file on my computer. And then if I choose the file, I can actually choose which pages, and I can also insert an image from my camera. If I click on the little gear next to the X to X out of this, I have the option to look at my front camera or my rear camera. So if you have a Chromebook with multiple cameras on it, or you have a laptop with multiple cameras, then you can change the view of the camera to which you are trying to insert on the board. I also can export my board, so I can export it as a PNG, SVG, PDF, and then if I go to the Pro version, I can actually download the full board as a backup file. And then I also have the option to send the file via my email. If I have any questions about how to use Ziteboard, ziteboard.com/FAQ for the frequently asked questions. So let's look at the hotkeys. If I grab my movement tool, I'm going to slide the board over, and you can see here one of the first hotkeys is my line tool. And if I type LL, it automatically changes, and up in the top left corner next to the hamburger, you can see that my line is on. And so now I can just draw a line. So I can do my arrow tool, so I choose AA, and then it will allow me to draw my arrow tool. So it has line and arrow are both on, so I can do a line and an arrow. If I choose RR, then I can do a rectangle. If I do CC, I can do a circle. And if I do LLAA, then I get my straight arrow. And if I do LL and I turn my arrow off, then I can move, I can make a roundabout arrow, and my arrow tool can be any way that I need to make my arrow move around. If you don't remember the hotkeys, because the hotkeys do not stay on your Ziteboard, you can actually go up to your pen tool and you can turn off your tool. So you just go and you click your pen, you can turn off your arrow tool very, very easily. But if you do remember your hotkeys and you type AA, then it just goes back to freehand. And you'll see what tool you're on because it stays up in the top left-hand corner. So I'm going to take my movement tool and I'm going to move down to the bottom. But first, over on the right-hand side, you can see that I have my zoom in, zoom out, and then my home button. If I click my home button, it actually recenters me back on the board. So I have my movement tool on, and I'm going to slide down, and we're going to look at some more options here in the Ziteboard. So one of the challenges here is to place a dot anywhere on the canvas and start typing, which I kind of showed you how to do that. Long press on a text, and if selected, press any key. After that, I can edit the text. I showed you how to do the long press. So they have some challenges here for you to really work with the board. We did find the home icon in the middle of the right-hand side of the screen, and then you can see it will go back to the original position. I told you about that. After you've inserted an image, you can lock it, and I showed you how to do that. So if we do a long press on the image, here is our lock. We also have our edit tool. So I can change the color on my tool. Maybe I want to make it a this kind of yellow color here. And then I can increase the font size as well. Or decrease the font size. So you kind of decide how you want to edit the tools. We've got all of the tools here available. There is even a spell check here because I have Grammarly installed. So this was pre-made template that I have. So with screen sharing here, it says find the mirror view option at the bottom right corner and turn it on. If it is on, the team members will constantly see the same position of the canvas, meaning you control what everybody sees when you've shared your board. To put the board away, your screens will be synced. Since different devices usually have screens with different dimensions, a dashed line indicates the area that everyone sees. There must be a lot of traffic right now on Ziteboard because I am unable to share. I am on the free version, and so right now, because there must be too much data on the site, I am unable to share my screen. But I'll show you down here in the screen sharing view. So here's the mirror view. There's a laser pointer, and then here's the invite people. But because the data traffic limit of the free plan has been reached, I am unable to create new boards or even share my board out at this point. So let's look at the pricing part here. So you can see I'm under the starter version, which is free forever. So boards owned by me is 3. Unlimited amount of shared boards, unlimited amount of real-time collaboration. And here's this limited data traffic. So if I go down here and find the starred version, it says eliminates data traffic limitation for non-pro users. So I think there's just maybe too much data, or I've used too much data on the board. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I'm unable to show you how to share it or what it looks like when you have multiple people on the board. I'm allowed the 3 colors, which I showed you was black, blue, and red. I do have sticky notes. I can import images, PDFs, the first page of a PDF, and I can also export as a PNG, SVG, and a PDF. So the pricing for Ziteboard, not too bad, $5 for 1 week pro. So if you know you're going to be using it for a limited amount of time, or if you want to use it monthly, you can. Annual subscription is probably the best if you know you're going to be using it constantly throughout the year. The annual pro version is probably your best option. So again, in Ziteboard, I just click on the little hamburger. I can go to my boards, and then you'll be able to see all of the boards that you have. And I can't create new boards right now because my data traffic limit has been reached. So that Ziteboard, I'll hit my home button one more time to kind of take us back to where we were, but it's a nice effective tool if you're just kind of looking for a nice easy whiteboard to show your students. Maybe you're working with them through distance learning. Maybe you want to use it in your classroom. Maybe you have some sort of digital whiteboard in your classroom and you just want a whiteboard. You don't have any software for it. Ziteboard is a wonderful little tool for easily just writing on your whiteboard. The next app we're going to talk about is Google Canvas, and Google Canvas has naturally beautiful brushes, hand-picked colors. It automatically syncs with your Google account, and you can download the image when you're done right from the canvas or from the dashboard of drawings that you already have. Now, you might not know about it because it doesn't show up in your little waffle when you open a new tab and you click on this and you get all of your Google Workspace tools. Maybe you can add it from the marketplace, but initially most people don't know that it's available. And it's just a canvas. So when you go to canvas.apps.chrome, it takes you right onto a canvas. But for my demonstration, I just want to show you the dashboard of Canvas. So I'm going to start a new drawing from here. You can see that my canvas is my dashboard is blank. So new drawing is in the top left corner. And you can see here are the tools on the left-hand side. So I have a pencil, I have a pen, I have a highlighter, I have some charcoal, and I have my eraser. I have my colors up in the top right corner. I have a palette of colors. I can also choose custom colors. So if you know the hex code, you can easily put the hex code in here and automatically get a color. Two different tools that I do recommend for finding hex colors. One is called Color Slurp. It's free in the Mac App Store, and it is amazing. All you do with Color Slurp is you click on, you download it, and then you click on the little eyedropper, and as you move around and you find the color you want, when you click on it, it automatically slurps the color, and then you can just paste it, slurps that hex color, and then you can go down here in the bottom and you can paste in the hex color, and it will automatically select that color for you. So the other one is the Color Pick Eyedropper. And that is a Google Chrome extension for free. And same things apply. You click on the Color Pick Eyedropper in your toolbar, find the color you're looking for. When you click it, you copy the hex color. And then when you copy the hex color and you paste it into, you hit escape to get out of the Color Pick Eyedropper. And then you paste in your hex color at the bottom of your screen, and it will automatically change to that color. So those are two tools. The Color Slurp for in the Mac App Store, and the Color Pick Eyedropper as a Google Chrome extension. Here is your line thickness right underneath your colors, so you can change your line thickness. So just to show you these tools, here's my pencil tool. And again, I just draw, and there's my pencil tool. I'm going to change to my inking tool. I will change my color. Let's do like a purple. So you can see that. I'm going to increase the size. And as I'm drawing, again, I can increase the size. I can increase the opacity. Let's choose a highlighter. And I'm going to change the color of my highlighter. Let's change the size of my highlighter just to show you what those different sizes and colors look like. Here's my charcoal. Let's change it one more time. My size stays the same. So here's my charcoal. And then I go to my eraser tool, and I do have to erase each and every pixel. It doesn't erase each line stroke that I have in my canvas. So one really neat feature about Google Canvas that I want to show you, I actually have to create a new board. So I'm going to click home in the top left corner. And up in the top left corner, now that I'm on my dashboard of my Google Canvas, you can see that I have the board that I created. So I'm going to start a new drawing, but I'm going to start a new drawing from an image. So I'm going to click on New from Image. It goes to my the files on my computer. I'm going to insert my Bitmoji. So here's my Bitmoji. Now, one of the cool features about Google Canvas is you have layers that you can add. So I'm going to go up here to my layers, and here are my layers. So this is my background image, and here are my layers. So I am going to choose my pencil tool. I'm going to choose my ink tool, actually. And then you can see here that I can actually use my ink tool, and I can trace around my image, right? So I'm just going to do this here for a quick second. And then I'm going to show you that I can hide my layer. There. Got my hand there. So now I'm going to go up to my layer, and I'm going to hide my layer. And I have this wonderful little drawing here. One thing that I do wish Google Canvas had was the ability to fill in my images. And I guess I can kind of do that with the highlighter, but it's not really the same. So really, Google Canvas you can use it as a whiteboard. if you want, or students can use it as a drawing tool. Google Canvas seems to work best in a Chrome browser or on a Chromebook. It's not really going to work on an iPad or any other device, so try to limit it to those two different devices if you are going to be using Google Canvas. But as you can see, a beautiful, easy to use canvas for you to use as a whiteboard. Again, the one thing that I do really like about it is the ability to create multiple layers. Again, I can click the plus, and then if I go over here and I add a new layer, so if we choose orange and I start to draw on this layer, then when I go over here, I can just easily hide layers as I'm working. The little snowman in the top right corner, I can save this as an image, and it will automatically download the image right into my downloads folder. So this is Google Canvas, a great tool for you to use and free as part of just Google's browser. The last tool that I want to talk about is Classroomscreen. And so if you are familiar with Classroomscreen, which you probably are because it's been a pretty popular tool over the past few years, gained a lot of traction, I think, a couple of years ago. But it's an all-in-one tool. There are 13 different widgets for you to use. I know a lot of teachers like to put it up in the morning and just kind of have it running all day on their display in their room, whether you have a smartboard or just a TV or whatever sort of panel or display you have in your room, and just have it running. You can use it with your students in person, or if you want to upgrade to the Pro version, you can use it through distance learning, and then you can use all the widgets and tools in it. So let's talk about Classroomscreen. It's at classroomscreen.com. So all the classroom tools you have at your fingertips. These are some of the widgets we're going to talk about. So you can just launch Classroomscreen. You don't need to log in, but if you do want to have multiple screens that you are pulling from, then you will need to create an account. Here's Classroomscreen. So when you get to Classroomscreen in your dashboard, you can see if you have multiple screens saved in your Classroomscreen dashboard, those will all show up here. So let's just add a screen and start to look at some of the tools in this app. So I created it, and it automatically generates a background. Now, you don't have to have this background. You can click over here on background, and then it will pull up all the different backgrounds that you have to choose from. You can load local background. So if you have an image on your screen that you want to put up, you can certainly put that up. If you want to, I've talked about Canvas. If you want to go create a background in Canvas and bring the background in here, like a to-do list for the day, that would be certainly something that you could do. These are still photos here, but if you go down, you can add animated photos to your background, so then they'll move around. So you can see now I have a fire going, so maybe we're at a nice bonfire. Again, if you don't like things to be animated, you can just simply choose a plain color. And then down at the bottom, here are all of the widgets that you have to choose from. So you have a random name picker, and when you click this up, then again, you can create this from name lists, and with the free version, you can create up to 3 different name lists. So this is great if you're trying to group students or you want to call on students, then you have your list of names from which you can choose. And the really nice thing too is as I add more widgets, so I add dice, 1, 2, or 3 dice, I can easily move these widgets around, and I can design my board exactly how I want, and I can make some of these items bigger or smaller. So if I move some of this stuff around, you can see I can make this bigger or smaller so I can fit more things onto my Classroomscreen board. This will give me my sound levels. I have to enable the microphone, but then as I'm talking, what it will do is if I'm too loud, then it will tell your students that it will show them that they're being too loud. So if you give them free time to work, then it will demonstrate how loud you're being. And so you can turn off your microphone, you can set notifications, you can change your sensitivity and your max noise. Another widget I can add is my media. So I can add images to my classroom screen. I can add a YouTube video, a webcam if I have one on my computer. And then if you also have an embed code from something, you can grab the embed code and you can embed that right into your classroom screen. And it's just nice to have some of these things all day. Maybe you have a cleanup song that you like to play throughout the day. You can embed that. Maybe you have a YouTube clip that you're showing that has to go with the lesson that you're teaching for the day. Instead of going out to find it, you can just have it built right into your classroom screen so you can access it, and then you don't have to have it open in another tab or anything. It can just be right there built into your screen. Here's a QR code. So if you want the students to go to a specific website, you can just type the website up at the top, and then it will generate the QR code based on that website. So if I type a website, you can see it automatically generates this QR code, and if the students scan it, then it will take them right to the website that you have typed in for the QR code. This is my draw tool. So we have talked about whiteboards And now I click to make it full screen. Here are some of my tools. So I have my pen tool, and here are the different colors. I have 9 different colors from which to choose. White is one of those options. Here is my line tool. And again, I have different line thicknesses that I can choose. I have my eraser tool. In my settings, I do have backgrounds that I can pick from. So I can do lines, I can do grids, I have a clock, I have some music notes in here that I can pick from. I can also insert an image as my background, and then I can change my background color. And I do again have the hex number here. So again, if you use the color pick eyedropper or you use color slurp and grab the hex color, then you can change the background of your whiteboard. And the nice thing is, again, it's full screen if I want it to be, or if I don't want it to be and I just click the 2 arrows together, it will make it smaller. And so I can make my whiteboard as big or as small as I want, and that can take up as much or as little of the screen as I needed to with my classroom screen. So I think this specifically is a really nice tool because you can put a reminder up here, or maybe you are drawing shapes for the students to remember, or you want the students to remember colors, or a specific math equation, or different rules, or the plot to a story you're reading, or a movie you're talking about, or a timeline of events that you are going through. All of this stuff can be put on the whiteboard and then just left in your classroom screen for students to look at later. Next is my text tool. So if I click the text tool, anything that I type in here will stay right on my screen. I can change the size, I can change the font, I can insert a math equation here, I can get rid of the formatting, bold, italicize, underline, strike through, superscript, subscript. I can create a link if I want to type out, maybe there's multiple websites that I'm going to be visiting throughout class. I can put these in here and then link them out to a website and click on them as I need to. I have bullet points that I can make for a list. Again, I can change the background color if I want this to stand out even more for my students. I can change the background color, and I do have the hex tool here that I can pick. Here are my work symbols. So if I just kind of put these up, I can easily access them if I want students to be quiet, if I want students to whisper, if I want them to discuss amongst their neighbor, or finally if I want them to work collaboratively in a group. In my settings tool, again, I can change the background color of my work tools. So you can really differentiate these. They don't all have to be white. You can really change them to different things as you're working. Another tool is your traffic light. So you can see here whatever we are in, if we're red, yellow, or green. So this could be for just some classroom management that you're working on with your students. Here's my timer. Here's the sound that it will play when I am done. I can do reset. When I'm ready to go, I just click play and it will start to do the countdown. Here's a stopwatch. So if I tell the students I'm going to give them 3 minutes, I can just easily click the start and we can just count up. I do have a lap button if I want, or I can totally clear my stopwatch from playing. Depending on what sort of clock you have in your room, if you have a digital clock but you want students to learn analog time, you can put an analog clock up on top. And finally, if you talk about the calendar with your students, or you just want students to know what day it is, you can easily put a calendar up on your classroom screen. So as you can see, Classroom Screen has a lot of tools for you to work with. Before I'm done with Classroom Screen, let's go back to the home screen. Now let's look at some of the features here on the Classroom Screen homepage. So one nice thing is you can do a poll with your students. So if you click on poll, if you upgrade to the Pro version, you can actually use the poll over distance learning. If you do not upgrade to the Pro version and you just use the free version, then you have to everything has to be done in person, which means the students have to actually come up to your computer or to your digital whiteboard and actually tap on it to answer the question. But you can see here you have different question types, and they can answer it via a smiley, multiple choice, or true false. So this is a really awesome feature. You just put in your question, give you your answers, and then you can choose what sort of chart type it comes out as, bar, pie, or donut. And if I click ready, then it will just start here and the students will come up and tap the answer that they feel that they are doing with their lesson today. And you can see the poll that I created itself on a new board. So that is my screen there. Here's my new group maker. So again, if I add students' names in here, it will automatically generate my groups. If I go back to my home screen, again, it's a new board that has been generated. If I click on Personalize, you can see here that this is where I can put in my name list right from my Personalize screen. I can give my boards a nickname. And then here are my active widgets. So if there are widgets that you're not using, you can easily disable the widgets so they're not available on your toolbar. So if you're like, yeah, you know what, I'm not really going to use the QR code. I'm just going to put it down to my disabled widgets. And then here's your preview down at the bottom. And if you want to re-enable the widgets, you can do that. You can also move your widgets around. So if you want them in any particular order, you can easily manipulate your widgets and move them around to order them any way that you want. And finally, let's look at the upgrade fee. So here's your basic version. It comes with 13 widgets, the poll, the group maker, personalized settings. If you do upgrade to Classroomscreen for the year, great price, $30 for the year. Save your screens, remote voting in your polls, organize your screens into collections, save custom backgrounds, and up to 30 different name lists. So maybe you've got different ways that you want to group your students. You can do it easily 30 different ways with the Pro version. And again, $30 is an amazing price for the whole year. That's a really, really great price. Those are the resources for this week, and the last of our whiteboard resources for you to use. Ziteboard, again, a pretty standard whiteboard collaboration piece for you and your students all in one space, unlimited amount of space. Canvas is more of a drawing tool for you and your students, but again, saves right to Google, is free, has the layering option, which is really neat. And then finally, Classroomscreen is more of the classroom management tool for a teacher. But if you do upgrade to the Pro version, nice feature there with the polls that you can teach students or ask students over distance learning, and then does have that whiteboard feature built into the tool itself, so you can use that to draw things for students or make notes or annotate or just kind of leave messages for students up on the board. Again, you can check out all the different whiteboard resources that we've gone over the past several weeks over at my website, and just kind of compare and contrast them and see maybe which one works best for you in your classroom and with your students. That's it for this episode of the Ed Newsstand Podcast. I really appreciate you listening to the podcast or watching the video version on YouTube, because I know your time is valuable. Please make sure to check out the resources in this week's newsletter from Ziteboard.com, Canvas.apps.chrome, and Classroomscreen.com. For more EdTech resources, you can find me on social media. I'm at Reynolds Troy on Twitter, at ednewsstand on Instagram, and also at ednewsstand on TikTok. If you're listening on any podcast platform and would like to hear more, please like and subscribe to receive updates and have any new episode automatically downloaded for you. You can also revisit my previous episodes on any major podcasting platform like Spotify, Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts. You can also watch my podcast or check out any of my other EdTech reviews on my YouTube site. Just head to youtube.com and search Ed Newsstand. If you like and subscribe, you'll be notified anytime I upload a new video. If you'd like to download my app to have my podcast and newsletters right on your smart device, please check it out at ednewsstand.glideapp.io and save it to your home screen. If you don't want the app but would like to check out my resources, please visit my website at ednewsstand.weebly.com. This is Troy Reynolds, and this is the Ed Newsstand Podcast, hoping you were able to take away at least one idea for your classroom. Please be safe. Until next time.